Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Fallout Bar. We are back once again in 2026. We've already had the Masters, we've had the World Final, and now it is the Premier League. And started off night one in Newcastle, which is why we haven't got any Dan Simpson, because he is probably a little bit worse for wear somewhere on his way out of the venue at the moment. I think he got himself a cheeky little free ticket later on as well, because that is the way that he likes to do it. But I'm joined by Dan and by Dave. Chaps, how are we both?
Good, doing great. Yeah, so happy to have the Prem back. February is like the month where we really truly get darts back with so many pro tours, and we have the Euro Tour starting up, and so this kind of kicked it all off. So yeah, so excited to be back.
Yeah, it's lovely to have darts on a Thursday night, isn't it? It just fills such a good slot. There's nothing else on. Just the perfect fit.
I said a belting night of sport tonight. It was Accrington against Salford for the fans of the football. We had rugby between the Irish and the French in the start of the Six Nations, and now we've got the Waste Management Phoenix Open in the golf. There is all sorts going on tonight, but
nothing trumps the darts, though.
That's it. All the focus up until this point has been on the darts, and yeah, it was one of those that. The night started off, we've got a few debutants, a couple of returning players. It was one of them games, but one of those nights where you felt like anything could happen. And without giving too much away, for once, it felt like we did get anything happening, because it wasn't the final that we've had so many times over recent times.
Yeah, it was, if you had a bet on the outcomes, we'll not spoil them for anyone yet, but you're probably sitting quite pretty on a Thursday evening if you've won a bet tonight.
Well, that's it. Yeah, if you're on the winning end of it.
Yeah, very. I think if I did not have anything on all the quarterfinals, I probably would have gotten one of them right if I bet all four of them. I truly was on the wrong side of I had Gezi as a bit of an underdog, thinking he'd show up because.
Yeah, so did I, and I think if he nicked his way through that first game, it could be a different way. Obviously, didn't quite work out that way.
MVG was the only one that didn't feel like a surprise, just in terms of how the match played out and the result. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, definitely. We haven't got any of your favourite segment tonight, Dave. We haven't got any of this. None of that at this time, but what we have got is this. Look at this. This is brand new.
Oh man! Oh yeah, we're all on the left now. Look at this high tech.
Tell you what, a little bit of magic there. I'm almost learning how to do this game. So we'll start off then with game one of the night, which was debutant Josh Rock up against Jonny Clayton. Now, come to you first on this one, Dan. Like, if you'd offered Josh Rock in his first game to rock up pardon the pun, and average 102 and 40% on his doubles, he'd have bit your hand off, wouldn't he? But he's come away with a 6-2 defeat.
Yeah, I feel for Rock a little bit. I mean, I don't think he's someone that's going to hold any scars. I think he's going to have a good season. But yeah, to average 101 and get 5 darts at a double, and he didn't really do a lot wrong. But that's how brutal the Premier League can be. It's most of the best players in the world, I'd say. And Jonny Clayton just showed up with an absolute vengeance. I was sitting there like, oh my word, this is game one. What an evening we're in for. I thought it was lovely.
In the chat, weren't we? Like, look, what a night this could be if it carries on at this rate.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think Rock did a lot wrong. I think you've just got to accept in darts sometimes you're going to show up and someone's going to bang in a 106, 107, and unless you do the same, you're going to be on the end of a bad result. So I think he'll move on to next week with his head held high. But there's not a lot you can do, really, when that's what you're going up against, especially in best of 11.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, coming to you, Dave, just spectacular from Jonny Clayton. I sort of told everyone at the Worlds that I expected him to go on a deep run because the scoring power was better than I'd ever seen it. We saw that tonight, didn't we?
Yeah. When his finishing, especially the big ones, when they're on, I know his biggest here was only a 98, but when he's hitting his doubles and he's not, the thing that does in his scoring phase is he'll just have these random visits where he'll throw like a 22, and it'll often come like after he takes out a ton plus, and you're like, where did that come from? So, none of that here. It was so professional. Kind of for anyone who is, and I can kind of fall into this maybe a little bit, but for anyone who's maybe doubting a little bit if he was going to be able to hold his own in the Premier League this year, I think this silenced any of that. And you feel for Josh because he just came off of the being in the runway of Justin Hood's ascension at Worlds. Like nobody could have stopped that from happening. And now this, I know it's just one night of the Premier League, but he's kind of right in that second tier of guys where maybe waiting to take another step and maybe, become that fourth horseman, as we've talked about in the top of the sport. But I feel bad because he's just running into these brick walls every time we've seen him play in the last month or two.
Yeah, he is. He's just struggling. It's not the first time it's happened to him. And he's one of those players that seems to keep performing well and not getting a result as much as you'd expect him to. But I think that was just spectacular from Jonny tonight. And it was sort of what we expected, probably game 2 to be, I'd say, Dave, wasn't it? Like, we thought if there was going to be a game where 2 people average well over a ton and take lumps out of each other, you'd have thought it would have been Littler against Jan van Veen. But this was probably B game from both of them, but it was Jan that came out on the right side of it, and no sort of hint of going to be overawed by the occasion because first night up there, he's got himself a win straight away against the world number 1.
Yeah, try to. I wish I could have found odds before this that of all the quarterfinals, this one would have the lowest combined match average because I certainly did not see that happening.
Yeah, I think you'd have got a
pretty penny.
Yeah, you'd have been very, very well off, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of chalk this up to it's insane to say a 97 is flat from anyone, but
it's nuts.
Littler has played more darts than a lot of people, at least stage darts under a lot of pressure, and I don't know if he just is just spent. I know he's taking the Pro Tour off that early next week, so that'll probably be good for him. Maybe a bit of a reset. It felt a little bit like that. I mean, you could say the same thing about Gian, who, again, I think looked flat a lot of the night and got a little fortunate with the timing of who he was playing. So yeah, I just wonder if it's a little bit of that on both sides here. But credit to Gian, he didn't really let it get to him on his debut. He strutted into the final, and this was a big performance on his part to just be professional and his timing was really well done when Littler was leaving the door open for him in a lot of these legs.
Yeah, he took his chances. There were a few missed doubles. I think he missed a few match darts and he missed a couple to break a little bit earlier on, but generally was pretty solid. 40% overall is always a good position to be in. Seen a few in the chat sort of saying that it was good to see Littler get beat. He has become sort of like his beloved Man United back in the 90s and 2000s, hasn't he, Dan?
Yeah, he's just a monster, isn't he? And
yeah, everyone just wants to see him get back.
He's lost one, and we feel like it's a shock. I mean, as I say, we're talking B game. He averaged 97 at the end of the day. That's enough in a lot of majors. You can walk it to a final or a semi-final. The one thing that really impressed us about Jan on debut was, I think he was 3-2 up, and he had it was 3 darts at tops or 16, and he missed them all. And I thought, we've seen this script before. You let Littler off.
16, wasn't it, for the break?
Yeah,
I think.
You let Littler off. He comes back and he steamrolls you. And Littler never really kicked into gear, but the fact he recomposed and he didn't let that completely throw his game off. I thought, you know what, a young lad. I mean, we probably take age for granted now because of what Luke does, but he's just the anomaly. He doesn't fit the rule. Being a young lad, he's won a major. He's obviously a big-time player, but his first time on the Premier League stage, to not let that get to him and to find a way to get the win with his big game, he really impressed us tonight.
Well, that was the thing. It did feel that way because, when you say, them 3 at 32 that he missed to break and go 4-2 up, he ends up at 3-3 and then Littler rattles off an 11-dart break to go 4-3 up. You think, that's game done there. So
yeah, we've seen it a million times, haven't we?
Yeah, that's it. As soon as he did that, you thought, Littler's going to win this game now. It could get a bit rough for Jan now. He's got to come back next week and see what he can do. But no, wins those last 3 legs and gets himself points on the board in week 1. And it's all you can hope for, really, at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a weight off. I mean, I think Jan, we know he's top 2, top 3, wherever you want to put him in the world. But it's just nice for him to have that off his back. He doesn't need to worry about it anymore. He can just show up, settle in, and I'd be very surprised if he's not in the top 4 at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that sort of consistent level, the way we've seen him play since picking up that first major title, I think I'd be surprised as well, to be honest with you. But you never know in this Premier League, and it does feel like one of the most competitive ones we've had for a long time. And that sort of carried on into this next game, didn't it, Dan? That like Humphries against Price, we had 10 straight holds to throw. No one could really get at each other on their own throw. And then when it came down to it, it was Humphries that got over the line and got himself through. But it was sort of one of those games that he's absolutely played him off the board, averages-wise. But Price on his own throw was just doing the right things at the right time until the very worst time not to do it.
I mean, you've summed it up perfectly. He just needed to hold him off one more time. He just needed to take out that 97, 100, whatever, just that one more clean check out, and he would have served out the match perfectly because he was under pressure in nearly every
He left himself 105, didn't he? And then he got 6 starts at it in the end and didn't take it out. And you can't do that against Luke Humphries.
I mean, when Humphries misses that double 4, you're like, okay, right, Price is going to come back 3 at tops, and I think the second one bounced out the board, and it was like, oh, it's just added to the drama a little bit of a deciding leg.
The last one was really well thrown as well, like rattled off the one that was just above it and just somehow didn't go in. But yeah, just sometimes not your day. And I think his face sort of said at the end, didn't it, Dave, that just keep getting really close and not winning games at the moment.
I'm almost getting frustrated for him because I think, and I didn't realize how much of maybe a hot take this is. I think he's pretty clearly playing like the 4th best player in the world. He's just not getting the results that the top 3 are, in my opinion. And he's getting to that like last step of the staircase, or maybe second to last step of the staircase, because we're not really seeing him in finals. And he's just falling on his face when he's right there. And we're talking like a matter of a visit or two. We're not talking like an off match in a big, like he's getting right there. And so, you don't want to see him waste this period where he's playing really well and not get any sort of, major titles out of it. But if I'm just big picturing a little bit with him. If he goes 2026 without a major title, I'm going to be really upset if I'm him, because he's playing well enough, in my opinion, to really compete for one. If this keeps happening, I just don't know how he'll take it. He's been a lot less of a hothead in the last, probably 18 to 24 months, but I don't know. I think Wayne was saying it on the broadcast that if he keeps losing like this, he's going to lose it. He's going to snap one of these days.
Yeah, I think it's just got to be a mindset thing for him that keep getting this close is a good thing, not a bad thing. Like, because it shows that he's clearly playing well and he's in the right place. And at some point, that dart is going to deflect in rather than deflecting just out, and he is going to get over the line in one of these games.
Yeah, and it's just the level he's playing at is so clear, because we forget he was number 1 on the floor last year, and he skipped like 10 of them. He's got the game. His game is in the right place, and I think you might be right. I wonder if it's a headspace thing for him again, maybe against certain opponents, because the last 2 close ones he lost were against the Lukes. I don't know, but I'd love to see him figure it out, because he's so fun to watch, and he throws a wrench into the whole Luke thing, and even with Gian, he just becomes this wild card that's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, fully
what's
agree.
Changed with Price is, I remember when he won the Worlds around that era, if he had 3 at tops, I would he didn't need the other 2. First one,
he was that at that point. He was more so than like James Wade on 10s. You were like, if you need someone to hit a double for my life, I'm taking him on top.
I think it was at the final with Gary Anderson. He was at 11 out of 11 or 10 out of 11. He just railed off the first 3 sets.
Ridiculous.
And now, I mean, look, he's still probably favourite, but there's a 20% thought when he steps up now. I'm like, I don't know if he's going to hit this. I actually fancy him more on 12s now than I do on tops.
That's it. You're almost like, if tops doesn't go first dart, you don't fancy it going 2 and 3 either.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of doubt there. I don't know if he's won a little bit, and there's maybe not that. I mean, there's obviously an element of hunger. He's 4th in the world, but if there's not as much as there was before, because he has the game. I mean, he's as likely to hit a 9 darter as anyone in the world. He's ridiculous when he's playing, but There's just that getting over the line and then clinch big moments. I don't think he's as confident in them moments as he was a few years ago.
No, definitely not. One man who did look as confident in those moments as we've seen him for a long, long time, Dave, was Michael van Gerwen, who got off to a slightly ropey start against Stephen Bunting. Went 2-0 down and you thought, oh dear, what are we going to see here? And then rattles through the next 6, barely misses a shot after that point, and worrying signs for his opponent, but really, really good signs for Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, I'm close. I don't know if I'm quite ready to fully admit it, but I might put my hand up. I said on one of these Fallout bars during Worlds that MVG was not right now top 10 in the world. I don't think you can make that case anymore between the World Series events. I know he wasn't great at the Masters, but tonight he was really solid. He got a little fortunate maybe with his draw and who he was up against, but his finishing was awesome. His scoring was a lot less loose than it usually is. When it's bad, it's not just like 60, 60, 60. He'll throw a 140 and then he'll throw a 43. Like it's very loose, like missing big singles. And you just didn't get a lot of that tonight. And the one technical thing I know that's been brought up is because of the things he's dealt with his wrist is that you see old videos when he was in his prime, that tip is up and now it's down. And that's not I'm not going to say, no, it's not, I don't think it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just different. And I'm just wondering if last year, maybe the year before, just the past few years, that's something he's had to work towards and adjust to and adapt and just change his throw based on, the ailments he's had. And if he just gets, he definitely still has the hunger. If he can just get that throw back into the rhythm it used to be, and it looked like it was tonight, then he's absolutely a contender to get, that fourth spot for the playoffs feels up for grabs. And he's put his nose in front with tonight's performance.
Yeah, it's really, really good start for him. But Dan, like everyone talks about it, there's been more than enough said about the lineup and whether certain people should have been in there or shouldn't have been in there. After last year, coming into this season, start off going 2-0 up, it's a chance for Stephen Bunting to make his point and tell people, this is why I'm here. And straight away, that talk's just going to increase, isn't it, when you go and lose 6 legs on the bounce?
Yeah, I don't want to sit here and slag off Bunting. He's took an opportunity at the end of the day. He doesn't pick the lineup regardless.
No, you're never going to turn it down, are you? Like, let's be honest, you want to be in there. Everyone wants to be in there. Unless you're Gary Anderson, you're not turning it down.
But the longer he stays on 0 points, the worse the conversation's going to get. And if I look at the other 7, it's he's never going to have a match where I'd favour him in a quarterfinal.
No, that's the thing. Every week's tough. It feels as competitive as ever. This, and like if he has a year like he did last year in the Premier League, if he does that again, like he's still a young man. I think it's very difficult to ever pick him again. Like unless he does something ridiculous and goes and wins the Worlds.
Yeah, well, they had that graphic come up, didn't they? And it did him no favours and said best result in the Premier League. And it was 2015, 2025, 8th. And it's just not a good look, a third time that happens, unless he truly turns it around and wins 2 majors in a year or something absolutely bonkers, which with the current field, I just simply can't see.
If I gave you guys even 50-50 odds of him finishing 8th or 7th or higher, what side of that are you taking?
Give me that 8th.
That's crazy.
Robbing money.
Honestly, if you'd gone 60-40 on it, like I'm only getting 40% for 8th.
I was trying to see how high we could go with it. Yeah.
I'm still taking it. I think I'd take the 40%.
I'm just looking here at the live order of merit just to have the names in front of me, and I think I have 5 players I think would have a better percent chance of not finishing 8th that are not in the Premier League.
I think it's not that difficult, is it? Like one of them doesn't want to play in it, fair enough. Gary Anderson would take him out. But Searle, Noppert, Wade, Aspinall, probably even Dobie.
Yeah,
Like, I'd have all of them, I think.
Dobie was ahead of him last year, right? Wasn't Dobie 6th or 7th? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a tough one for him. But yeah, not the start that I wanted. But on to the quarterfinals, and obviously started off with Jonny Clayton up against Gian van Veen. And come to you on this one, Dan. It was sort of night and day performance for Jonny Clayton from what he did in the first round to the vast majority of this game. He did pick it up a little bit towards the end as he fought back a little bit, but there was such a disparity between the two.
Yeah, it was a real shame. I mean, Jonny used all his good darts up in the first match, and you can't afford a slow start in the Premier League. It's best of 11. It's that quick, and Van Veen, he got a nice little layup. I'm sure everyone would take that in a semi-final, but look, you've still got to hit the doubles and get over the line. But yeah, a bit of a shame for Clayton. I mean, the important thing is, though, he's won the quarter-final. He's got the 2 points. Obviously, the semi-finals are only worth 1, so it's not quite as valuable. But yeah, it was a shame. So I was really looking forward to that. I was like, oh, Jonny was really good there.
Yeah, and you think Jan's going to be a bit better than he was in the first game.
Yeah,
like he'll really pick it up a little bit and might like ease into it a bit more here. This could be a belter, and then it sort of fell a little bit flat.
Yeah, it was one of them where you kind of blink, and after 6 or 7 minutes, you're like, all right, well, we know the outcome now. It's just the scoreline. But yeah, I think Clayton will be disappointed with his performance in that. But I think in the Premier League, the most important thing is getting 2 points on the board every week. And if you have a little bit of a further run after that, brilliant. But the 2 points really add up. If you win most of your quarterfinals, you're in a good place.
Yeah, that's it. You win one game every week, or 9 weeks out of 10, you're more than likely going to be in there. For this one, though, like I say, it was, when you're looking at it from Jan's point of view, Dave, like, yes, well, without spoiling what happened later, even though everyone watching knows what happened later, to get 2 wins on your first night is the perfect way to start the tournament, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, and they asked Luke Humphries before his semi, they were like, a lot of these guys see it as you just win that quarterfinal, and then everything else is kind of gravy, because if you just keep doing that, which you're not going to, but if you can do that for most of the weeks, you're probably going to be right there. Maybe a pick off a night or two, and it's getting those 2 wins is amazing. Getting 1 is fine. Getting all 3 makes the night, but yeah, that's just tough for Jonny to do so well in that first match and then do this. But it was kind of Gian just running into flat performances and stumbling into the final. That's what happens sometimes. Luck of the draw.
Yeah, definitely. On to the second semi-final then, and Luke Humphries up against Michael van Gerwen. This, Dave, was this felt like, and it felt like a lot better than what the numbers say from Van Gerwen in this one. Obviously, the doubling was spectacular, but it was just, this was the one where I really wanted to get the Harry Potter gif out of, like, he's back. Like,
yeah. The thing that I think we're not used to, and when it started to look not bleak, but just not like old Michael, is where there's a pivotal moment in a match. So many times over the last few years, you're just thinking of old Michael, and you're like, all right, he's got 3 darts at this double. He's hitting it. And then he wouldn't. Like, we've seen that a lot lately. And you're just like, oh, and then, the person will come in, especially someone like Luke will come in and steal the leg. And you're like, man, that's just the difference now. He just doesn't quite have that same ability when it gets down to the end of legs. And I mean, 6 for 8 on doubles. I don't even know if he had 3 darts at doubles at all tonight. I can't remember one. I think he had the one against Gian in the final, but I can't remember one where he went more than like 2 darts into it. So it's just, he was so clinical tonight. He was clinical in this match. The scoring wasn't overwhelming. That's why I think the averages look so close. But at the end of legs, it was just very businesslike. It felt like that here. Luke slipped a few times, and MVG was right there to pounce on it. And just another performance where he's just showing a little something that maybe we haven't seen in the last year or two, which is exciting.
Yeah, and on the other side of this, Luke Humphries, like I say, 2 points on night one. It's a solid enough start, but it's another one of these, and we said this a lot last year with this format. Players performing really well in the first game and then struggling to back it up. And it felt a little bit like that from Humphries. Like the doubling was awful in this game from him.
Yeah, I think Humphries will be kicking himself because I think Humphries has the whole thing. He knows he's second in the world. He knows Luke is probably 5% ahead of him at the moment, and he's desperate to make that gap up. And there'll have been a little part of him tonight when he seen Gian not Luke out, all right, I'm going to stamp my authority on this tournament. I'm the defending champion. I'm going to take the final. And you know what? Against Price, it was a champion's victory against Price. He had to really fight for it. He had to work hard. He had him under pressure every time he was on throw, and eventually he broke Price. And it just all went out the window in the second game. I mean, I think most people so Jonny, who lost in the other semi-final, walk away from Newcastle quite happy. He's got 2 points, but I think Humphries will see that as a bit of a missed opportunity to really put his stamp down. I know it's only week 1 out of 17, but I just think he needs a little bit extra at the moment with how things have been going with the other Luke.
Yeah, definitely. The way he's playing as well, like how well he played at the weekend and then coming into this, I think it's a real opportunity to get yourself ahead early. And it might be one of them years where it's not just about picking up 2 points every week, because you are going to get beat more often because everyone is that good now. But we were into the final then after that, and an old Dutch affair, world number 3 against world number 4. I nearly just said it was Luke against Luke. It just nearly went into that. It just came out. It's just what I expect it to be. It's what we just keep being fed going forwards. But no, it was Jan van Veen up against Michael van Gerwen, and it was refreshing, wasn't it? It was nice to see, and it was nice for it to be something different with, it's not a proper trophy, it's only a night trophy, but both of them will have been thinking on this start of the campaign, neither of them picked one up last year. 1, because Jan wasn't in it, and 2, because Michael was bobbins for most of it. But Dan, really good performance once again from Michael van Gerwen, and just made it count.
Yeah, he was just, I don't want to say steady in an insulting way, because he was very good, but he wasn't. We've seen him hit higher averages, but he just felt very assured. You know, he got chances. You felt like he wasn't going to make a mess, like Dave said earlier. He wasn't going to mess up when he needs a big single, and then he has to mess about losing a dart to get back on a double. It was just very clinical. I mean, it's a bit of a shame to see Jan seem to be struggling with his shoulder. Hopefully there's nothing too bad there, and there's just a bit of tightness. But Van Gerwen, whether he's played people in top form or not, he's went out there, he's won his 3 games, and part of the romantic in us wants to kid myself and think he's back. I think he's a long way from that. But, you know, if he can start playing some good darts, you want to see Van Gerwen in finals, in big semi-finals. It's the sport's a better place for it.
Of course it is. Like, it's good being competitive, having Luke and Luke being able to go back and forwards at each other and being competitive. I say back and forwards. You look at who's holding the titles at the moment. It's not in that much back and forwards, but like of having those levels and Jan getting into there, but having Michael van Gerwen at the top of the sport playing at his best is just good for the sport. And the more people that are in there competing and the more people knocking lumps out of each other and winning week on, week out is just better for the sport, and it's better for eyeballs on it, and it's what we all want to see. And looking at it, Dave, like he said it himself afterwards when he got interviewed, it's about fucking time that he won one.
Yeah, I can't believe. I mean, I can because it got a little dark at times last year, but that he didn't win a single night last year. So for him,
even Bunting won a night.
Yeah. After that was. I think he went into that night without a win, and then he wins the whole thing. So, I don't know how much some of these guys maybe put into that. I think it's nice. I think the table is all that really matters in the end. I know that. I think the Knights won a tiebreaker, or is it legs? If you're,
I think Knights won is the first one.
Okay, so I guess it does matter a little bit, but I mean it's like pretty, other than the Masters, it's a pretty dang good start to 2026 for him. This is only helping. And you know, the World Series events, you're like, okay, like, you know, they're a little, they don't tell you a ton, but to see him come out and do this was, I'm his biggest critic lately, because I just think people get a little scared of just the name brand of him rather than how he's really playing right now. And tonight he was, yes, he had a bit of a favorable draw. I think Van Veen looked a bit deer in headlights at times on the final stage. But yeah, he showed up and he didn't let anyone into the leg. If someone was having a rough leg or maybe on the back end wasn't really taking care of their business, he was there to pounce, and he wasn't really making any messes of anything, which we've come to see him do in the last year or two. The one thing I have found, and it's a little bit more dull because I forgot that they played, 3 weeks ago, but I'll ask it as trivia. You guys can try to answer it. I'll let people in the chat maybe answer if they can. But the last time, if you count the World Series 3 weeks ago and then this, the last time Michael van Gerwen beat the Dutch number one, who and when was it? You can give me a year.
It's going to have to have been, it's obviously going to have to have been Barney, and it must have been 2010.
I'd agree with Barney. I'll say 2009 because I think you're pretty close, but just to throw a guess in the ring there.
According to Darts Database, which I'm hoping is a trustworthy site, I haven't used it much, but it has a bunch of good historical head-to-head. It was at a pro tour on January 21st, 2007, where he beat him. He beat him and then lost, looks like 8 straight to him, up until 2012 when he overtook him as Dutch number one and never looked back. So this is not 19 years in the making, where MVG is entering these big events against another Dutchman, and he wasn't the favorite going into that final, and he's beaten him twice now. So we'll see if he can get it back. It's definitely achievable. I don't know if he's going to catch the 2 Lukes, but yeah, I thought that was a crazy little piece of history. This is almost 20 years in the making.
And this is why you are here, because that is world class stuff there. And yeah, not only that, I think you mentioned before about his throwing it looking back. I think this final game was the one where it looked so much smoother in the scoring phase. Like the doubling was probably his worst of the night. He was still well over 40%, but I felt the throw really looked back in this game, and it looked like he'd found a bit of rhythm. We have also got a clip from him, because the hardest working man in darts, the famous Mr. Phil Bars, has already managed to get it clipped up and put in the back end for us. You will be able to see the full interview afterwards on the YouTube channel, but stick with us for now. But let's hear what he had to say.
From a mindset, I don't think that matters, because I know I have a good mindset, but it's always nice to be in front of them instead of chasing them. So now they have to chase me and make sure they, to battle back and make sure they get in the tables as well. But for me now it gets a little bit more relaxed. But don't get me wrong, it's going to be still a long 15, 16 weeks ahead. So I need to make sure I keep my focus going. I hate the word statement, you know that. I don't have to make statements anymore. I'm retired of statements.
I like that. There's always some little cheeky edge to it when it comes to MVG. And like he sort of said, I think he said to Sky beforehand that he wants to enjoy it, this tournament. Like usually he's like, it's all business, but he wants to enjoy it as well. And what better way to enjoy it than being top of the table after night one and having that little whatever it is trophy that they've got. They change it this year from what they were last year. It's like more of a little bit like a Premier League football man of the match award that's now like a strange little weird round thing that they give out as well, rather than the old bottle of champagne. But
it was nice to see him almost. I mean, I like the end. I don't need to make statements. You know, he's Michael van Gerwen, 7-9 Premier League winner. He knows exactly who he is, and
and so does everyone else. And him doing this in League One, he knows he's more of a statement than anything else he can come out with and say.
What I like about saying he just wants to enjoy it, though. I mean, he'll always put a bit of pressure on himself. He's Michael van Gerwen. He's an absolute monster.
He hates losing. He absolutely despises losing.
It almost seems like if he can adopt that mindset of, look, the Lukes are the best at them and then I can play, it might free him up a little bit. It might take that snappiness off where we see him getting a bit stiff and rigid. I mean, maybe I'm just trying to convince myself Michael van Gerwen's making a 2026 comeback, but
yeah, maybe.
you never know.
I'm with you if it is. Gordon just said that it looks like a bottle of Lynx in a box. It's probably it's about right for the trophy, but he'll be happy all the same. So this is how the table looks after night one. We'll start at the bottom where we probably won't need to change. We'll probably just clip this bit up. In 8th place, Stephen Bunting. Right, we can just play that every week now. 7th place, Josh Rock. 6th place, Luke Littler. You are not going to hear that very often. That's not going to be the case for much of this year. 5th place, Gerwyn Price. All of them the losing quarterfinalists. No points on the board. Luke Humphries in 4th with 2 points. Jonny Clayton just above him with 2 points. Not sure what the tiebreaker is there, but for some reason Johnny's ahead. I think it might be leg difference. And Gian in 2nd with 3 points, and Michael van Gerwen in 1st, 5 points, 1 night win on the board. Which means, what is up next? Look at that. And as if by magic, on the screen, we have night 2 from the AFAS Dome in Antwerp. And we start off. This is your chance to get involved in the comments as well, of course. It is best of 11 in every game. If you can't manage to get involved in the comments, it's because you're not subscribed. So make sure you click that button, click the like button while you're there as well. And we start off with Luke Littler up against Luke Humphries. So we are guaranteed not to see a Luke v Luke final 2 weeks in a row, which, I mean, it's chaos, this Premier League. We're seeing all sorts already. It's wide open. It's the most wide open it's been for, I don't know. It's never really that wide open. There's always someone that's been. Dan, you're up first. Where are you going in this one?
I think Littler 6-5. There's not. He can't be on 0 points after 2 weeks, can he? I can't predict that. I think Humphries will run him close, but like Luke does, he'll just pull out the right thing at the right moment and get over the line 6-5. I'm going to say in that one.
Dave, are you agreeing or are you going the other way?
Oh man, I'm gonna go Humphries because I just think I hate saying like something like hunger, especially against the guy who just already won the world championship and then decided to just win it again. I don't think hunger's really an issue for him, but I'm going to go Humphries just because I think he's gotten so close recently, and eventually, especially in the short format, if there's a time to get Luke Littler, that is, then I think this is the way to do it. He probably knows that. I'm going to go Humphries. I'll go 6-4. He's clearly the dog here, but you know, I can't believe I'm going to say it, but yeah, I think Littler will be on 0 points after 2 weeks and in dire danger of missing the play. No, I'm kidding.
I thought you were going to go even bigger. I thought you were going to go scrapping it out for 8th place with Stephen Bunting. Right. Where am I going on this one? I think I'm with you, Dave. I think we do see him on 0 points after 2 weeks. And I don't think he's in dire danger of missing out on the playoffs. I think he will be there. I'm not even going to kid myself that might change. But, yeah, I'm going to go Humphries. But I think if it gets to 5 apiece, I fancy let's get over the line. So I'm going to go 6-4 Humphries. What have we got in the chat room? We've not got many getting involved yet in the chat room. This is going to be a quick one. Bob's got it 6-4 for Luke Littler. Harry's got it 6-3 for Humphries. So, I mean, we have currently, and between us and the chat room, we are leaning towards Luke Humphries being the favourite in this game. Second game of the night then, and Michael van Gerwen up against Josh Rock. Does Van Gerwen carry on his unbeaten run in this tournament, Dave, or does Josh Rock get his first points ever in the Premier League?
I think this is going to be like a complete 50-50 pick 'em when we see the odds. I have no clue. I'm going to go kind of with what we were saying about Rock earlier, where he has just been a little unlucky with what he's run into. And I think he's still playing at that level that he was during the World Cup final last year and kind of in that middle part of 2025 where it felt like he was kind of on fire. So I'm going to go Josh, and I'll take him 6-3, but man, MVG could make me look really dumb here. I just need to see it from him a little bit more consistently rather than on these off nights or these off weekends. But yeah, I'll go Rock 6-3.
Just on the odds, we have at the moment, very early, not many even got it up yet, but 6-4 on favourite for this game, Michael van Gerwen. I think he carries on the run. I think he is unbeaten through 4 games in this tournament, and I think he wins it 6-4.
I'm going to say, well, I did like Dave's analysis and breakdown of it. I do quite agree with it. However, I have been trying to convince myself and the universe that Michael van Gerwen is back. So I think he's going to show up and put a real performance on. I'm going to say a 6-2 Van Gerwen.
6-2 for you. Bob's got it completely the other way. 6-2 for Josh. 6-4 for Josh for Gordon. Golden Knight got it MVG 6-3. Joel's got it 6-5 for Humphries. He's just a little bit behind. And then 6-3 for MVG. Third game of the night. Jonny Clayton, the best performer in the quarterfinals this week, up against Stephen Bunting, who desperately needs a win early in this tournament this year. Does he get it next week in Antwerp, Dan?
Well, I'm going to say something that you might not expect here. And I'm actually going to give Stephen Bunting a leg. And I'm going to say Clayton 6-1.
Dave, are you with him? Are you being more generous? Are you going to give him 2 legs, or are you giving him a full 2 points?
I feel like this goes so. If he this is probably, all respect to Jonny Clayton, this is like his best chance at getting a win that he's going to have in the next probably like 8 weeks. And if you're just not picking him here, when are you picking? Oh God, I can't. I'm gonna say Jonny Clayton. I wouldn't be stunned if Stephen won because of what we saw from Jonny. Like, he has these nights where he's just kind of all over the place with his throw. But I'll take Clayton. I'm gonna take him 6-5 though. I'll be a little bit more gracious towards Stephen. But yeah, man, if he loses this one, it's like. It's bad. It's getting worse and worse and worse.
It could be really bad if he loses this one 6-5 after missing a bunch of match doubles as well.
And even worse, in my opinion, he's going to know, looking at this list, that Jonny this is probably his chance, like to get some points on the board. And if he is like non-competitive, if you're non-competitive against the guy who is probably the most likely to finish 7th, maybe him or Rock, like. That, like, what does that tell you? That's just going to make me personally feel like I don't belong even more. So, man, this is honestly, this might be a hot take. This is the one I'm looking forward to the most, I think.
I like that. Which way do I think he goes? It's not a question. I think Jonny Clayton wins this. I think he turns up and I think he plays really well in the first game again, like he did this week. I think the bookies are quite generous. Like, you can get as much as 11-8 on, which is a pretty good price, to be honest. So yeah, maybe if you are having 10 pence on it and gambling responsibly as always, maybe get your 10 pence on early on that one, because I don't think that price will be that when we get to next week. I will take Jonny to win it 6-3. I'm going to give Bunting a couple of legs, but no more than that. Oh. And we've got Golden Knights has got it 6-2 for Clayton. Gordon's got it 6-3, as has Joel. And Bob has got a Bunting win 6-4. He is fully on the side of the people's champion, self-proclaimed. So we are on to the final game of the quarterfinals next week. and it is Gerwyn Price up against Gian van Veen. Your turn to go first this time, Dave. Which way are you going?
I am going. I'm first going to say, because of the draw, because I love looking at the draw and just, if you're going to pick a nightly winner, I think you're probably going to get a decent bet in on the winner of this match because of the way the draw works out. I'm sure that's already priced into the lines a bit, but the winner, I think whoever wins this match is going to really be licking their lips at the draw, how the way everything pans out. You're losing one of the Lukes on the other side. MVG Rock, like, they're both certainly beatable. Your semifinal is, you're going to be the favorite no matter what combination comes out. I'm going to go with Gezi. I feel like I keep drinking the Kool-Aid on him. I keep taking him to win. I'm curious if he's the underdog in this one.
He is actually, 11-10. So very close, but slightly odds against for Gezi, which I think is
it's hard to say Gian is maybe a little rattled at being in the Premier League, because he looked like it tonight when he just played in a World Championship final, and I didn't think he looked rattled. He just got outplayed. So I don't know how much I believe in that angle, but Gezi's been there, done that. He's going to know he needs to start, getting going. So I'm going to take him to win this, and then spoiler will be I'm going to take him to win the night, just because I think the draw works out well for him.
There you go. We will come on to that prediction in a minute. Dan, are you going the same way, or are you in the favour of the Dutchman?
No, I think Gezi's due a close win. He's always there or thereabouts. I think he'll show up with his serious head on next week. He didn't get off the mark this week. He took it to the death. So I think 6-5, I think, as the bookies have got it, it's very, very close. If Van Veen wins, it won't surprise us at all. But by law of average, surely Gerwyn Price is going to win a close game of darts at some point, and I think that could be his night.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think we saw, even when Gian won this week, we saw a couple of obviously missed darts to win matches before getting over the line. I think he misses once, gives Gezi an opportunity, and Gezi wins at 6-5. I'm with you on that as well. We've got a couple of those in the chat as well. Joel's got it 6-5 for Price, but very much on the fence. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Daly's got it 6-5 for Price. Gordon's got it 6-4 for Gian. Bob 6-1 for Price. He's got it wide next week. I just can't see him getting 6-1 at any point, Gian, in this sort of a format. And Golden Knights has got it Gian 6-3. So from there, and from your quarterfinalists, so this is where you have to figure out whether you remembered what you've picked or not. Who are your two finalists, and who is your winner? Come to you first, Dan.
So I've got, right, I need to think back now. So I picked Van Gerwen.
Always takes about 6 weeks before you start writing it down.
Little Van Gerwen. I think, as much as in my mind Van Gerwen's on the rise again in this hypothetical where he's just beat Josh Rock, I think Littler will have enough to get to the final. I see Price beating Clayton, and then Littler will take out Price in the final. Probably your most boring prediction ever, but Luke Littler to win night 2.
Go, Dave. Are you clearly not going the same way, because I think you picked Humphries to beat Littler. So we're definitely getting a different prediction. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I have. I think Rock, because I took Rock as well. I think he could give Humphries a match, but I just don't quite think he's on the same level. So I will take Humphries to get to the final, and then I'll take Gezi to get past Jonny, and I'll go the whole way and take Gezi over Humphries in the final to get that night 2 win. And I believe that would, if things shake out the way I'm predicting, I believe that would put him top of the table, or at least tied with Michael.
Yeah, essentially.
So I like his draw a lot.
Yeah, I think it would do. I was trying to figure it out in my head though. So Gordon's seasoned. He's been here before. He's been writing them down as he's gone along. Like he's more professional than us three that are on it. Someone add him to the stream. Right. I have got Humphries, Van Gerwen, Clayton, and Price. So from that, bottom half's easy. Price, I'm going to take to beat Jonny and make the final. Does Van Gerwen beat Humphries 2 weeks in a row and make another final? I think he might. I think he might do it. I think we might see Gezi against Michael in the final, and I would take Gezi to come out on top in that one. So I've got Price winning it and winning it fairly comfortably 6-3.
I like it.
What have we got in here? We've got Gordon's got Littler beating Gian 6-5. Daly's gone, we embrace chaos. We absolutely do embrace chaos here. Even when Dan Simpson's not here, we still always embrace chaos. Clayton to win the night. Bob's got Littler beating Price 6-4 in the final. Gordon says he's not professional at all. It's just senior moments. He has to write them down. Fair enough. That's absolutely fine. So that is us all wrapped up for night one of the Premier League darts from Newcastle. We are back next week after night 2 in Antwerp. I have no idea who will be on. It could be me, could be all three of us, it could be any combination of us. Dan Simpson could be here, Jarlath could be here. We could have anything. Phil might be here. He won't be here. He definitely won't be here. I know that for a fact. But thank you, everyone in the chat room, for getting involved. Thank you for making it what it is, this show. And we will see you all on the other side.